Hello, Dave here with Organic Gardening in North Carolina. Thought I would share with you how I make biochar. I don't really have any equipment to do it, but this is a simple way to do it. A lot of people use like a barrel or something that they can get the wood totally burning and then deprive the wood of oxygen so that it will make charcoal. But another way to do it is how I do it, and I do it in an open pit. Do it in my fire pit. What I do is I get the wood to be totally burning until it's burned down to basically it's totally consumed, but it's just like a bed of coals. And then I will douse that with water and I'll be left with the biochar. Okay, just one more thought on biochar. Actually, I was watching a video this morning where the guy said that 1 gram of biochar, which is basically the size of a lead pencil eraser, has the surface area of 2 football fields. Now my cousin Tim says he thinks that's a little bit of a stretch, but I don't know, even 1 football field's a little bit of a stretch in my mind. Not really a stretch, but I'm sure they have scientific studies that figure out the surface area. But anyways, that surface area is what makes the biochar so special, because that surface area helps the biochar to pull in nitrogen, pull in nutrients and moisture, and hold it in the ground until the plant needs it. So it is pretty amazing, and I hope you use this video to make some good biochar for your garden. Now, one more word about charging it. The reason it needs to be charged is because it has all these nooks and crannies in it. It will pull the nitrogen and nutrients out of the soil, and it'll pull them away from the plants if the biochar is not fully charged. So that's why you want a nitrogen-rich material to mix with the biochar and let it sit with the biochar for, well, as long as you can, really, but for a while before you use it, so that it'll be charged and it won't be pulling things away from the soil, but it will be giving things back to the soil. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you how I use my pallets for the wood, and we'll get started. Okay, here's what I've been using to make biochar. I just get these pallets. My hardware store actually has a bunch of them out behind there, and they said I could pick up as many as I need. Of course, you see a lot of people making things out of these pallets too, but I just chop them up with my circular saw, which is a little bit dangerous. You could use a chainsaw or whatever to chop them up and put them in the fire pit, get them going to a good nice fire, and then, like I said before, once it's totally coals with really not much of a flame at all, douse it with douse it with water, and it'll put the fire out, deprive it of oxygen, and you'll be left with just the coals, or the charcoal. Alright, so let's get started with that. I cut up 5 or 6 pallets, and they're about at the end of burning now. And when the coals die down a little bit, I'll go ahead and make sure that everything is burned through, that the 2x4s are crumbly, and then I'll put the fire out, because the fire will have gotten completely through the wood. So I'm going to let it burn down a little bit more, then we will spray it with water to put it out. Okay, now you can see it's burned down till it's pretty much just coals, and the wood is all broken apart. Even like this 2x4 right here, if I poke it, it'll just crumble. So the wood is broken down, and if I had a barrel I could just shut it off so it wouldn't have any oxygen to smother it, but I don't have it in a barrel. So I'm going to just water it down, put the fire out, and then we will have to charge it by putting it in compost or some other nitrogen source. Thinking might put it in the bottom of my worm pit for a while, but it looks like I might have maybe 2 5-gallon buckets worth of biochar here. Okay, here goes the water. Hear that sizzle. Okay, here's my pile of biochar. As you can see, it breaks apart real easy. Now it just needs to be inoculated or charged or activated with some nitrogen source. I'm thinking I might get some composted cow manure or composted horse manure to activate it, and that should do the trick. Oh, I guess I should try a bite, because that's what people that make biochar do. Okay, let's try a bite. Yep, I think that probably tastes perfect. Yeah. Here's the biochar ready to be activated. Dug it all out of the fire pit, and I got quite a bit. Actually, I got more than I expected from just those 6 or 7 pallets. And it pretty much crumbled into small pieces. It'll continue to crumble as I add the horse manure or compost or whatever used to activate it. I'm thinking I'll probably go about half and half biochar and activator. Right, Blaze? Right, Chessie? Right, Chessie? Yeah, you good dog. Okay, here I mixed my biochar about half and half with composted horse manure, and I didn't want to go light on horse manure, so I went half and half, and there's still a lot of biochar showing, so I'll have to turn the pile a couple times, but I'm going to leave this charge. I haven't decided how long. Maybe I'll have to do some research to see how long. And I planted a little piece of cilantro on the top of that just for fun. See if it dies immediately, or see if I can let it there and see if it grows for a week. Alright, so let's let it charge and we'll get back to it later. Hey doggies. Okay, here's what my finished biochar looks like. I left the nails in. They should provide some iron. Now we just have to put it on the garden and see if it helps things grow. Blessings to each of you, and I will keep you updated.